Pitter-patter. Let's get at her.
Let me see. Okay. Here, you can look at those levels and see.
I mean, yeah, they look fine.
Wonderful.
For our quiet voices.
Really?
So quiet. I don't know.
No. So this is
I'm gonna ruin you guys.
So this is yeah. You have a good teacher voice. Episode 9 or 1X if we did Roman numerals.
Ooh, getting fancy.
You're right, and we have our guest, our first
In-person guest.
In-person guest. Yeah,
That's true, and first Creative member guest, because...
So this is Creative Cast, episode 9.
Hi, everybody. I'm TK97670, Colin.
And I'm TK5351, Mike.
And I'm going to be the weird guy. I am TI13437, Tyler.
I'm already regretting asking him here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, we should have had TK as the first guest.
I'm going to throw everything off.
Well, no, so first before we do anything else, you should tell us what costume you do and why you chose that costume.
So I am officially a New Hope Tie Pilot. There are multiple variants at this point, including a new... You see there's a solo one that's like slightly different from a New Hope one?
Oh no, that's another CRL we'll have to do.
We can do that later.
Yeah.
So officially a Tie Pilot. One of the cool things that... one of the reasons I did the Tie Pilot was... There's also the Tie Reserve Pilot. So while I was working on everything and getting my armor... I was able to still join the Legion and troop with the kind of base costume. So I was still able to get out and do things and be with the group while I worked on everything else. Because it took me almost a year from the time I had my reserve approved before I had the helmet and body armor.
Now, who made your helmet? For those out there, we don't. The Legion doesn't endorse armor makers, but we can because we're not official.
We are not an official.
We're just
affiliate of
anything.
Anything.
So the guy's name is Chris Dennis, I believe is his last name. He's out in Poland, and his company is Sandprop.
Oh, okay.
Rad.
There's a whole bunch of people out there that make the tie costume. There's different options that I didn't partake in. There's guys now that do magnetized clips into the helmet. I think Pilot Bay does that. They do a really nice job. Sandprop just happened to be the best bang for buck for me. That's just kind of why I went
Are the hoses a pain? As a TK, I know I can't sit, but at least I don't have hoses hooked to my helmet.
The nice thing is the helmet itself is very spacious, so you don't feel claustrophobic at all. But the one limitation, I can sit, and it's not...
Right.
So it's very, very nice in that sense. Everyone kind of gets angry at me when I do it.
Yeah, I can relate.
The only issue I have is with the hoses, it kind of holds your head in place, and because the helmet just kind of rests, it's not really... Mine anyway is not firm to my head. I can't really turn it too much. So it's straightforward, a little turn to the right, a little turn to the left, but I don't have a full rotation. I can't look over my shoulder. Not that I can see down anyway.
We still can't sit.
I think my problems are slightly less than yours.
Now did you the what was the name of the prop guy?
Sandprop.
Sandprop. Did he do all the armor? Like he did all the armor and the helmet?
All the hard parts.
Okay.
So
okay.
I got the chest plate, the pillbox, the hoses, and the helmet through him. And it was just all he did it for like one deal. It's
always nice to get from the same person because I've seen guys get from different, and the plastic slightly different, like the sheen on the plastic and stuff.
And what's nice too is there are certain things that were customizable. The cogs on the side of the helmet, he had different paint colors that I could pick from as far as how metallic I wanted them to look. There were some other options. You could do like a light up pillbox, which for tier 2 approval, nothing can light up.
Oh, okay.
But that was more expensive anyway, so I just went with...
That's weird. I would think it would be the other way around.
Well, because it's not lit up in the movie.
Oh, okay.
That's why. So you can light it up, and it looks really, really cool. Like seeing people walking around with all these different glowing buttons. But for the actual movie quality approval or whatever it is, you can't have anything lighting up.
I mean, it makes sense. It's just, it seems odd to me. You'd think more detail, more movability with the armor would be higher approval.
You would think
a higher
so.
level, right?
But I think that's... So those that aren't in the 501st, we have our CRLs, and we've talked about it on previous shows. But if you're just jumping in, or it's been so long you forget about that's costuming referencing library. They try. At least they're trying to shoot for the movie, so maybe they were just like
movie seems to override everything else.
Right, and I think for so long before because it used to be the CRL just had this is what you get in, and there was no levels in the olden days. And so they probably had a lot of guys with light-up ones trying to make it seem more realistic. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times they want to include those guys in the CRL. But that is weird that you would think, spend more money and have a less accurate costume.
Well, you'd think by those standards, if it's movie standards with the amount of medical tape I have holding my armor together, I'd shoot right to Centurion level.
Yes, right.
Prior to being with you guys and chatting about that, I'm full honest, I'd never actually seen the tape. Like in the first couple shots of A New Hope, had never seen the tape on the armor. Now I can't unsee it.
Oh yeah,
every time.
Patchwork armor, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's like someone pointed out to me all the fingerprints on Vader's helmet in New Hope. And once they pointed it out, it's like, man, just give the guy a wet wipe or something like that.
Well, that one was just, it was the style of paint or something. You could see like the brush strokes too.
Well, and they didn't have high, they never thought it would be seen any, the highest def would just be a 35 millimeter projector. They never thought that people were going to watch it at home and rewatch it.
Surprise.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's what Radu was on Zoe's show. And he was talking about, because he does Battlefront.
Yeah, he did the
Inferno Squad.
The Inferno Squad pilots.
And he was talking about like the olden days, and it just had me reminisce about what we thought was canon, and then like the FX armor that I wear was someone's idea of what the armor should have looked like. Like my FX is fully symmetrical, like the eyes both same size, but to be accurate, the one eye has to be a little bigger than the other, and your helmet has to be a little wonky.
And that's just the molds. I was actually reading an article today about the Tie Pilots. I was just kind of getting reacquainted with the actual facts of my costume, and apparently I believe they only made 14 tie helmets for like the entire A New Hope. A couple of Masters, a couple of just generic ones, and I think they made 2 extra for the people who actually built the costumes for them to
thank you
take home with them.
We can't pay you. Here's your armor.
He's not gonna make any money for this movie.
It was interesting to see that and just see this pile of helmets, and it was in kind of, I guess, the early on in the process. A lot of them weren't finished. But it literally looks like what's in your garage half the time. Just this bunch of junk helmets. Actually, there was an image that I didn't realize.
He just called your helmet.
I know, right? I know.
Sorry.
I'll take that. If I would have known growing up that my garage would have looked like a Star Wars junkyard, I would have had a much happier childhood.
It really is a compliment, though. I don't know that. But apparently there's one tie helmet when Chewie goes in to like the trash area on Best
Cloud City.
Cloud City.
Right.
Well, there's one shot where it's like one of those tie helmets just got remade into like some sort of random bounty hunter's helmet just in the corner.
That's pretty cool.
Would never have seen it without that still image.
Yeah, and weren't the 2 TIE pilots that walked next to Vader, weren't they female to make Vader look bigger?
They're women to kind of basically slenderize the characters. And to make Vader look taller, even though David Prowse was already huge,
right.
They wanted to really stand out.
Because I know in the 90s they had that Star Wars collectible card game. I don't know if you ever saw that. It was like by Decipher. So I had my store then. So we just looked. We never played the game, but we and they had the 2 TIE pilots with their specific numbers on their helmets that flew with Vader. They had like whole backstories on those cards, as much as you could fit on a card.
And it's at least the ones walking next to him. I'm not sure, like in the actual shots of the trench run, who that was, but at least the ones walking with him were.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and then, so we were talking before we started recording, Zoe, I'm working on a animated tie for Zoe. There's no CRL for it, so I'm working with the guys to help make the CRL. And that costume, in some ways, it's going to be slightly easier, I think, than yours, because they don't wear boots. I have these these plastic leg things that go around her legs that are black, and they have a black shoe because there's a seam around it. So like the pilots of those personnel vehicles in Rebels, the gray and the green, and they have those boot covers. That's the same thing. It's just black for the Tie Pilot. Oh. And so I'm working on the helmet, and another gentleman's working on the other pieces, and they're trying to make it fit.
So you showed me the helmet earlier. Is the chest box, pillbox, is that all streamlined as well?
It's simpler. It's just like the only animated one I've seen. The two animated. There's the animated Stormtrooper, which I don't really like because it's like they took clone armor, like the animated clone armor, and put it with the helmet, so the helmet looks too small. It's out of proportion. Mm-hmm. So the guy working on this is trying to make it more proportional. Like he took the measurements of the helmet. He asked me once I printed it, the actual measurements, and he measured. And I think we were a little off, by 2 centimeters to where we wanted it to be. But he's like, I think 2 centimeters will be okay. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think the box is more streamlined. And I don't know if they have the hoses because they disappear.
The one episode where Sabine's getting Wedge out, I don't think they did. At least there might have been one moment where there was, but most of the rest of the time they didn't have them on.
Right. And then the other thing, they're working on CRL. So Zoe will join the 501st as an animated tie. If we get this done, then she can pop the helmet off. And they're working on the thing you wear on your head.
The balaclava.
Yeah, but they're putting earpieces on it and the padding on this. So then then she gets to have a tuft of brown hair coming out, and then she's Sabine in the Rebel Legion in the Tie Pilot suit. So that's the plan.
It's a double costume all in one.
Right. But she has to join us first. 501st first.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have till September to get that ready.
Why September?
That's when she turns 18.
Ah, right, got it.
Because then she will have trooped with the 501st all but 5 3/4 years of her life. Safi will have done all but 3.5 years.
Such dedication.
Right, I know, right? So okay, so you got, and then you have the soft parts. Is just your jumpsuit.
So the soft part was the jumpsuit. I actually got that through an Etsy seller. Mm-hmm.
Was that hard? Do you have to have that custom fit?
No, I think it was Jedi Robe America or something. That was the name of the seller, and that was just.
I think I've seen I've looked up some of their stuff on Etsy before too. I think I recognize who you're talking about.
Yeah, and all it was they had a list of small, medium, large with just a sizing chart and measurements, and got one of the soft rulers and measured myself and went, okay, this looks like it's going to be the one that fit, and kind of got lucky there. Truthfully, there's a few things I bought before I had my helper.
Right.
And fortunately, when I sent off the pictures of them, they all got approved, so they were fine.
Now, did you have to have anything special sewed on, or does it already have the pocket?
No, it just has an open pocket that you can slide in. It has a couple of spots on the sleeves for the code cylinders. So it pretty much just came ready to go. You just hop in.
So they must have used ready to wear in the movie. It's probably just like a generic flight suit.
Something like that. I think all they had was a jumpsuit, and then just sewed the pockets on that they wanted, that sort of thing.
And you have the orange one for your costume.
Yeah.
I think I still have 3 or 4 of those left. I saw a Tie Pilot at Celebration painted like a Rebel pilot. Huh. He had the orange. He just took a Tie Pilot like yours.
Yeah.
But he wore the orange jumpsuit. The chest armor and everything was painted white, and then his helmet was painted like a. But he had his whole face was magnetically removed. He had smart magnets, so he could take the whole face plate off and still keep the helmet on.
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh.
There was a concept.
Well, the hawk itself, the kind of the casing minus the faceplate, is essentially
right.
the Rebel helmet.
Yeah, so he could pull that off. And no, what do you think about the Tie? Have you watched Star Wars Resistance?
Yes.
What do you think of that? They don't really have him in much, but
I mean, I think the concept is cool.
Yeah.
But he's been in maybe 2 episodes for a second, one part of a race, and then I think the most recent episode he had 1 line. So we have had no interaction with him yet.
Yeah, I was surprised because I was thinking when they first started showing those characters, they were going to be the main characters.
Or are you caught up on the show?
All but the last one, I think.
So I think going forward, they're going to come back around. I think the first half of season 1 was a lot of introduction, but like most of the animated series have been. Season 2, they're getting a little bit more plot development, but they kind of stuck with Kaz and kind of his little circle telling his story. So I think the Aces will come back in season 2 in the fall. They're going to be.
Yeah, I just thought that was a neat concept. I thought that was a neat concept. I wonder if they'll have a Resistance panel at Celebration.
I would assume so.
Because Celebration last time they had the Rebels panel, and if you were in the panel, you got to see the 2 newest episodes of Resistance. I mean, of Rebels.
The other one.
So you had to keep your mouth shut for the whole summer on what was going to happen. It was the one where they had a device that disintegrated all the Mandalorians, used their armor against them or something like that. It was those 2 episodes.
That was brutal.
Isn't that called the Duchess or something like that?
Yeah, whatever the code.
It was whenever whatever Sabine built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so that's our TIE Pilot. You have a pistol? Do you wear a belt? Does the TIE Pilot wear a belt with a pistol, or you just have to carry it?
No, you have the standard just kind of Imperial belt, and then it's once again the CRL is optional blaster, so I have a holster and an E11 that I carry around with me. I
just got a new E11 to build. Did you pick that thing up?
The one that was an airsoft or whatever?
That thing weighs a ton, but it's really nice.
Does it still fire?
Yeah, it's brand new. It's electric.
Nice.
But I'm gonna probably pull the battery out because it weighs like I have my original one, which I lent Andy Wolf has borrowed it for his. But my original one's kind of heavy. This one I think weighs more than a real British sterling. Like, I'll show it to you before you leave. It's really heavy.
And you're going to cast it and make some rubber molds, huh? Yeah. So you could,
I am so backed up on casting and molding. No, well, the long blaster that a biker scout carries, I found the files for them on a 3D printer. I can 3D print like 4 pieces and you put it on a piece of PVC pipe.
Oh, okay.
So you can get a full-size blaster for about $3 and a piece of pipe. So that'll be something I just gotta get my printers back running.
I would imagine the PVC pipe would help hold it together a bit more.
Yeah, well, my 2 heavy blasters down there, my clone blaster, did you see that?
Yes.
And my other sand trooper, that's a piece of PVC pipe right down the middle, and then spray foam.
Oh, okay.
So, keep them light. I just always thought when I hand a kid one, for those that don't troop or dress in costumes, many, many times kids want to hold our weapons. And you hand them something really heavy, or you almost have to assume they're going to drop it.
Don't bring the nice one.
Yeah. The
nice one stays in the case at home.
Right.
The one you could break in half and, only cry 1 tear about.
Right. Well, I know I've been to troops where I try, it's different. You kind of know the people, but certain ones, if there's kids who are overly anxious to grab our weapons and you can tell that the adults don't want them to, I almost always keep mine in the holster and just keep my hand on it.
Well, that's fine. I still haven't upgraded past the $15 spray painted rubies one yet. Like, sure, it looks a little smaller than your Hyperfirm or your rubber E11s, but kid wants to hold it. It's just a solid piece of plastic, and it was $15 on Amazon. Like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna shed a tear. I may actually be proud of them for breaking something like.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's why I think it's good that they're optional.
That's
because a lot of people
for breaking my stuff.
A lot of people could be, that you can spend a lot of money on the extra blasters and stuff. I mean, I always feel naked, like if we do a school and they don't let us have blasters and I can't wear it.
It's weird not
I'm just so
having
used to having
there.
that weight, so it does. I always wear my holster even just when I can't wear it. Now the Sand Trooper doesn't have a holster.
Yeah.
So I will have to get used to carrying it then.
Well, the other thing that's weird at those events where we're not allowed to have the blasters is then, like, what do you do with your hands?
I know.
At least if you have it in your holster, you can kind of keep a hand on it and
Well, I hook my right on this belt. So just every picture of me, I'm standing right there, just
holding the belt.
Yeah, well, I mean, because the thing with and it's probably the same way in your helmet because you have a bigger helmet. Mm-hmm. You have that blind cone around you. That you can't just have your hands flailing around you when you're smacking a kid upside the head and he's walking by, stuff like that. Yeah, I've done that. I've hit a few.
Not on purpose, of course. No.
It's great though when you hear the voice, but you can't locate it.
Oh yeah.
Where are you coming from? Where are you coming? You have the
Well, that's what Safi said. Her Tuscan, in some ways, is easier to see through than her Jawa because she can see down through the mouth. The way the mouth sits on the Tuscan, because it on the adults it's supposed to look like a C, where on hers I made a little look more like a open C. You know, she's a kid when I built it, but she can see out of the mouth and she can turn her head more. The FX bucket, the big one that I have downstairs, you could it's like yours. You can barely turn your head because it's really big. I think honestly the Tie Pilot looks more like an FX because your Tie Pilot, that's almost perfectly symmetrical, right?
Yes.
Where it's almost like when they made the FX, they took the faceplate of the Tie Pilot, and when someone was sculpting that to make the FX. But the FX is also that armor that kind of.
Well, they got the really big. I'm able to tell the FX armor with the giant tubes on the side of the cheeks.
The tubes are big. The helmet itself is more square. Like it's the top is more flat.
Yeah.
And but the armor itself, the buttons are the backs of snaps. The buttons are bigger. You know the little tiny buttons. They're just you just put snaps in there. And then the armor, this armor here is more, the chest armor isn't rounded, it's square. And at least what I heard was the FX was, they talked to someone and they said, if the molds worked perfectly, how should the Stormtroopers look? And that's when they built the FX. They built it. And it was built more for bigger, like, because the people that the Stormtrooper armor was on in North Africa and England were all fairly small people. And then they had to build it for Americans who are a little bigger in the middle. So the FX is a little better.
Hot spear belly.
So it's FX armor is slightly slimming. So but yeah. So then what else? We talked. You're here.
I'm here.
He is indeed right here.
You're here.
Last time I checked.
And we have two TKs.
Yeah,
so
that's it. Bye.
Okay. No. Well, let's see. So upcoming events, we might as well talk about that. So it's February, so this will be our first one of 2019.
I could have sworn we had a January
December. I think it was December.
Was it so close to the end of December that I'm confusing it for beginning of January?
Your last one was like.
No, wait a minute. No, yeah.
You would know.
I think.
I mean, listen, guys.
No, because we talked about we talked about doing one at our last super secret armor party, and then we just didn't get around to it.
Oh
I think we talked about it.
That's right.
But it didn't work.
Because you were deep in conversation with whoever your friends were out in the garage.
Yeah, well, they were trying that was a cool armor party because we had people that had they were just fascinated. Like if you would have brought your TK, they would have just been fascinated by that. Because they're like we're so into armor and that we're used to seeing it. Like there's Darth. Like my kids are like, oh yeah, there's Darth Vader. And there's when we were talking about Disney, we were down Disney the second time and there's Zoe was like, oh, Marty could do that armor better. So and so's TK looks better. She's, you know what I mean? I'm like, every other kid's like falling over the stormtroopers and stuff. My kids are like, so I've seen that every weekend. Breakfast with Darth Vader. People are paying money. My kids are like, I don't need breakfast with Darth Vader.
I can call him up if I want to.
Yeah. So, the last time we were there, the armor looked much better. There was a Rex there that looked like 501st armor. Mm. Where the first time we went, I think the first time we went was almost all the TK stuff was Ruby's armor.
Yeah, I think they've upped their game since then.
And then the second time we went, which was the last Star Wars weekends that summer, most of their armor looked like a Novos or Mon Cal or stuff like that.
When was the last time you went?
2015, maybe? Something like that.
I would imagine in the past 4 years they've really upped their game, especially since they've taken over.
Yes, yeah, it was like right. It was right after, and even honestly, even the Ruby stuff. If you look at Return of the Jedi TKs, it looks
the Rubies. As far as the body armor, the helmet's a little wonky, but because I think they usually cast them as one piece for the helmet instead of in multiple parts. But I still I've seen pictures of like the Disney cruise or whatever, and they still use Rubies on the cruise liners because affordable for them.
Well, and also I think when you make someone wear something for a job, like they couldn't make us wear our armor. Oh, here, put this on. You won't be able to sit. You won't be able to go to the bathroom. And you won't be able to see.
Oh, they do that. I worked at Hershey Park. I knew some of those costume characters. They know the deal.
But I think because
informed.
Even their Vader that they did that had them fight the kids, their Vader suit to the average person probably looked really good, but it had a few cuts in it so he could be more mobile and stuff like that. And their Chewie's a little rough, but their Chewie's, all the guys I know that do Chewie, you have to maintain. You can't just like hand it to another person, and there's a little bit of maintenance in that.
I had seen some pictures of some of the last Star Wars days and the parades there, but I guess they hadn't informed their employees that were dressing up how to put the armor on correctly. So I saw stormtroopers in the parade where their thighs were swapped.
Oh yeah, well that was so the ones that come out on stage and then they had these long like spire looking things like the rebel guys stand on in New Hope.
Yeah,
there's stormtroopers standing on two of those, and the one had it looked like he had this piece upside down and stuff like that. The bicep.
Oh, the bicep.
Bicep he had on upside down. But the parades, when we saw, like Butch was in the parade, that's in Korea, and a bunch of people, they marched in the parade and stuff. The TKs, the clones, I got pictures. It was a neat parade. The second year we went? The second time we went, the last time we went, was they had Chopper there. It was when Rebels just came out. They converted so they started on Wednesday, started dressing up the park for Star Wars weekend. So they put up the one place you ate. It was all Mandalorian armor. They hung up in the place you ate. They had a probe droid in the back, pieces of battle droids. They had pieces of X-wing laying around and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. But I think now with the new park coming out, they don't have to do all that. Where before it was you could just see it gradually coming.
That's a good segue into the question.
Oh yeah, so we have a question from, I think this is from a year ago. So if you asked this question a year ago, we're very sorry that we're terrible podcasters.
We have also forgotten that there is a place for you guys to ask your questions.
Right. So
that being said, there are places for you guys to ask questions, which we will answer eventually within the next couple of years on the show.
Right. We are also people that can't get our episodes right. So So this is a long question, but it says, great show, guys. So in 2019, no, really we saved this question because it's a 2019. It says, in 2019, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is expected to open in both Disneyland, California and Disneyland World, Florida. Hopefully, Star Wars Celebration coincides with one location or the other. We already know that doesn't. It coincides with right between them.
Yeah, they picked the middle ground.
Some listeners may not realize that Disney used to have Star Wars weekends in which the 501st members were invited to walk the parade in an imperial procession, if you will, down the main streets of Hollywood studios, along with some of the actors and the Disney characters dressed up as Star Wars icons: Jedi Mickey, Minnie, Leia, Stormtrooper Donald, and Darth Goofy. If Disney were to bring back the parades and extend the Legion's-wide invite, would you put this on your bucket list? It says pun intended.
Quote unquote bucket list.
Bucket list.
Ouch.
Yeah. To attend. So here, that's a 3. So would you?
Would I put it on my bucket list to attend one of these?
And march in the parade.
And march in the parade. I mean, yeah, obviously I'd like to attend Galaxy's Edge. It looks like it's going to be awesome, even if I'm skeptical about how crowd movement will go. That being said, would I go out of my way to march in one of the parades? Probably not. If I happen to be working down in Florida and
you had your armor with you?
I had my armor with me, which is, I do work with it frequently. My coworkers make fun of me for taking it along to gigs, but if I happen to be, if everything lined up, sure, I'd do it. I wouldn't not march in a parade at Disney, So, yes, maybe.
That's one yes.
I wouldn't put it on the list, but I would do it.
on a bucket in quotes list.
Yes,
Stormtrooper bucket list.
On my Stormtrooper bucket list.
I think if it coincided with something else, like if Celebration ended up back down there and they said, oh, by the way, we're going to do a march through the park on such and such a day. If I was kind of, as Colin said, heading down that way anyway, or if there's some extra special piece to it, then I'd consider it. I think if it's just a parade, sounds cool. Not necessarily something that I need to, fly down to Florida for.
Okay, yeah. I'm in the boat with same as you guys. If I was down there and I had my armor down there, like I always fear hauling my armor. Like especially on planes. Like us with TKs, there's no way to really pack that small.
You can't fly
like you could
with
probably get most of yours in a smaller bag and carry your bucket on.
Maybe, yeah. It's always the bucket and the body armor that always causes the biggest fuss.
And that's what like if I was driving down and I had a place to keep where my armor wouldn't be in the baking heat, I would probably try. But as being someone who saw the parade, and even though I knew it was our guys, it was just as exciting to watch the parade.
Oh, I bet.
I watched it with a guy who was in the Mando Mercs, and he was telling me about his Mando armor that he built out of solid metal. That's all. I don't even remember the guy's name, but he built Mando armor.
Oh, that's pretty.
And all I said was, "Man, isn't that heavy?" Because I'm thinking how heavy TK armor gets by the end of a troop, and how hot it gets. Imagine having plates of metal.
I bet it would be hot, but think of the exercise.
Yeah.
Your calves would be in
That sounds like
shape.
it's like the first Iron Man suit, the giant metal.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well also
around
the
in that.
Mandalorians can get away with it, because now that I think about it, he could have just had chest armor. I could have been thinking all this time he was wearing all this armor like we do.
Yeah.
He could have just been one of those Mandos has chest armor on.
Plate.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's like what? Like
shin
chest plate and
pads.
shoulder plate?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think they have shin armor, some of them.
Not all of them, no.
So...
I wouldn't. I would do like Mandalorian in cargo shorts.
Yeah, there you go.
Cargo shorts and flip flops.
Casual Friday Mando.
I'm all business up top, party down below. You know what I'm saying?
There you go, your droid builder Mando.
Hawaiian shirt. I would totally do that. Like Hawaiian shirt over top of the armor. Like.
Well, did you see... I know we're on an audio, so no one else can see this.
Yeah, nobody else can see this.
That's for Zoe's next shirt. So we got the fabric from Lando's last shirt.
Oh, that's what that is. Yeah,
from Han Solo.
I just watched that again recently.
Yeah.
I'd only seen it once up until
Really?
the other, and I watched it again, and I appreciated it much more on the second time through. And I think it was because I wasn't fighting with an old man sleeping in the theater behind me.
I wasn't with you then. No. I saw it. I got the troop that one, so I trooped it 3 times. I think we saw it at drive-in.
I caught more of the jokes because I had earbuds in because it's on Netflix now, so it's much easy. It's so much easier to access. So
and they used the Rogue One stormtroopers.
Yeah. Except on Minbin, where it was Rogue One armor, but with like the big Neanderthal forehead on the stormtrooper helmet. But the capes, I liked the capes. I liked that they had capes on the stormtroopers.
Right,
I think that's pretty cool.
Sorry, all I can hear is I think it's Edna from The Incredibles. No capes.
Oh yeah, no capes. So yeah, that was. So that's been almost a year, since this spring will be a year from that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But I haven't seen any, and no one in our group has done any of the newer troopers. No one has done a Rogue One or a.
There almost hasn't been. I feel like enough time for that. I mean, yes, there's been a year.
Yeah, I was just thinking the Rogue One. I haven't seen anyone do the actual TK Rogue One. It has the ratchet straps that go in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I do like about those. I like that those straps go down in the armor.
I like that they have the little hole on the back where they had all the stunt wires coming through.
Right.
So now even on the action figures, there's that tiny little pointless hole that's there that was in the movie because that's where they had the stunt wires.
So we can have ourselves explode at our next event.
Yeah,
fly
exactly.
Through the air.
I would love that. Be able to fly out over a crowd.
Volunteers as tribute.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Retire your armor. So
it's going out with a bang.
All right, so let's see. Predictions for this year. Celebration. 2 of us are going.
Yes.
Are we going to try to record at Celebration? Should that be a goal?
We keep saying we're going to try and record places, but it just...
I'm taking this recorder so we can try.
Yeah, might as well. Why not?
It'd be like if we can just get in a lobby somewhere and just,
Coming at you live from the Stormtrooper FISD photo shoot.
Right.
It's a cluster out here.
We're really in the thick of it.
You can't hear us over the clack, 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 clack.
Are you taking your armor?
Yeah.
Okay, see,
I want to be in the FISD photo.
I'm not taking my armor. I'm just going to lie and say I'm that guy. I'm going to say, yeah, there I am. No.
I'm only gonna wear it the one day though. But it seems to be lining up that all the photos are happening that Friday.
Right.
So that's probably gonna be my TK day.
Yeah. Are you going all 5 days?
I am going all 5 days. I don't know if depending on when we get there because we're driving, which will be interesting.
Yeah, we're driving out too, but we're gonna leave Wednesday night and then stay somewhere halfway between.
I'm thinking
get there early Thursday. And it looks like Toledo, Ohio, is about a good distance. It's like a little further than half. But I'd rather be a little tired the night before.
Hotels in Toledo, because especially since Bash is the Bash is that first night. I guess you're not going to the Bash.
I'm not going to the Bash. You're going to the Bash.
I'm going to the Bash.
So
if that's the first night, I gotta be awake for that.
Did they announce the swag for the Bash yet?
Which a
lot of times they'll give swag. Like last time we got a bag with a bunch of stuff. That's where I got the blue milk carton.
Other than the stuff that you could buy with the tickets, the puzzle patches and the deck of cards.
No, you'll probably get a Bash bag. That tan bag is a Rancho Obi-Wan Bash bag. So they'll probably give you a Bash bag.
I'm excited for it. Okay. I had seen videos of the what are they called, Wesley and the Crushers or whatever, the band that's.
Oh right, yeah, isn't that the guy from Star Trek?
Well, that would be Will Wheaton, but I don't think that's actually his band.
Him?
I saw the video of the band is so Galactic Empire's deals the costumes.
Right.
So it's actually similar to that, different genre of music. They're closer to like a pop rock, I think. But they're all in suits with matching colored Mandalorian helmets.
Oh, okay.
It looked like. So when I saw them and was listening to music, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. I was skeptical about the Star Trek themed band headlining.
Yeah. Well, we had Weird Al last time.
Yeah.
But he didn't do the songs that we trooped to. He did his stuff his last tour was on.
Mm.
So
that's all. He's doing another tour soon, isn't he?
He is. I don't think the 501st will be involved in that.
No, you don't think so?
It's orchestra. It's all orchestra.
Better. Oh my god.
It's all orchestra.
Well, I have it marked off on my calendar anyway.
I just have because they have a. I think Lucasfilm has changed how we do musical events now. So it all depends. Like we used to be able to just do concerts all the time, and now I think Lucasfilm has changed that because they have their own concert series.
So. Of course they do.
But we'll never know. Just watch the boards if it comes up. But I haven't heard of anyone because normally there'd be sign-ups
You'd
by
think
now.
from somewhere else, yeah, or wherever his tour starts, and they'd be already on it.
So, but then we have Celebration. We have a lot of stuff this year. We have Celebration. We have new Disney parks opening this summer, right? Is it this summer? They said 2019, but I thought it was fall.
June was the initial one. I'm not sure what the update is.
So we have the parks opening up.
Disney streaming service,
which then brings us 2 series.
Yes,
The Mandalorian.
And Clone Wars continued.
And eventually the Cassian.
And the Cassian
show.
Oh, they're making one for Cassian, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cassian and K2SO.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I did see something about that, yes. I'm now...
That's more like...
I was totally thinking Poe Dameron. I'm like, don't we already have Poe content? But Cassian and... Yeah.
Alan Tudyk's going to be at Celebration, so...
Are you signed up for any of the autograph
Not
spots?
yet. If I'm going to sign up for anybody, I think I want to meet D. Bradley Baker, who did the voice of all the clones, and Captain Rex.
Oh, okay. Right.
But, I've followed his career even before he started doing Star Wars stuff, so as far as celebrities go, I think I'd get the most out of meeting him than if I were... I'm not really interested in meeting celebrities in the first place. That's if the price is alright and I decide to do it.
Well, I'm honestly, I'm more interested in meeting, podcasters I've met over the years and people like that. That you can spend time with and have a meaningful talk. I'm not knocking the celebrities, but I'm just going to be person number 300 in
Well, that's what I figured, even with him, is where he is on the list of who's showing up. He's not up there with the Daisy Ridley and the people that are the big
I think the same as doing James Arnold Taylor or Matt Lanter, some of the other voice actors there. I feel like if you really follow the show, you know who they are and you appreciate their work.
Yeah.
But they're not getting the headline of the main
Yeah,
movies.
so you get a little bit more time with them. They're a little more relaxed. It's not as, all right, next, all right, next, all right, next.
Well, and if we push our press credentials here at CaritaCast, I will start bugging them just like I bug for my daughter's show to get people on. Because, I mean, she got Vanessa Marshall. It's a shame that I'm running behind my 17-year-old daughter's podcast. But,
he's a good father, right?
You started 2 years later than her, didn't you?
Almost three. Yeah, 'cause they're going to be 4 years this September. So, yeah, I started quite... I didn't have anyone else to host with me. I said to people my age, I say podcast, and they look like, what? I don't understand what you're talking about. No, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm looking forward to meeting like some of the celebrities to me are like, Holly Fry from Stuff You Missed in History, and she does Full of Sith podcast. I don't know if you guys listen to that. You listen to Full of Sith?
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
That's a good
check
one.
it out.
That's Mike Pilot he's out of Reading. Actually.
Oh, okay.
And there's just a bunch of podcasters that Johnny Grosso, he's out of Jersey. He does Rogue One. Not as family friendly as our show, but he does a good show too. And just, and hanging in lines, like as much as people complained about lines in Orlando, I had just as much fun hanging in lines last time. I mean, I would recommend anyone going for first time, look at the small panels, like just done by like normal people, and check them out. Like Zoe didn't get a panel this year, but Safi and I hit some of the smaller ones, and they were fun because they were just happy you were there, and it was kind of that fan experience. I mean, the big ones were cool. We did the Rebels one, but we had to get up really early, and we had wristbands and stuff, but we still had to wait in line with our wristbands, and it was nice, but yeah. Safi was the Uniketsu, so she got to walk up stage. I think she still is the Uniketsu. So.
Yeah. So I don't like standing in line. So if I see an event, I might do one event with that line standing worthy, if there is, just because I'm impatient and I don't want to drag my girlfriend to.
Well, and
make her stand in the lines as well.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't see any panels that interest me in standing in line. Like I might check out the Phantom Menace one Monday, but it just depends on how Monday might be a light day. Because like a lot of people were expecting Monday to be like Thursday. At least what they're saying is kind of like the throwaway day. In this one, I think a lot of people were expecting Monday to be the throwaway day, so they made their schedule accordingly. So we're not leaving till Tuesday morning because I just wanted to. Yeah. I just wanted to take all of Monday and just walk the floor when everyone's like tearing down and just and then get some rest and then just drive home Tuesday.
Yeah, that's the plan for us as well.
You ever driven to Chicago?
Nope.
The one thing I would tell you, my brother and I did this summer, the saddest moment was realizing that there's a time change into Chicago.
Oh, right.
And we sort of half thought about it, but it didn't really occur to us that the time driving into Chicago looked an hour earlier than it should have been, and we were super excited. And then we got closer and went, oh yeah, there's a time change. It's an hour after that we'll actually be there.
Great.
Well, see, we drove to California this summer, and so we ran into the same because we left on a Thursday. We got to California Saturday, and we hit all those time changes.
Oh, did you at least plan some fun stops along the way? Or?
We didn't plan anything. We just left. We went, and then we said, okay, we're going to go to this place first, and then that was it. And then when we were done that, where do we want to go next? But we went to all the Star Wars locations in Death Valley. So that was fun. But yeah, I'm waiting for driving to Chicago. Then we have episode 10.
9.
Sorry. See, I can't get the episodes right. It's me. No, so we have episode 9. And I don't know. I don't really know if I want predictions. Like I've even fast forwarded on podcasts to get overly into predictions anymore. Because I kind of want to. I don't want to even hear if someone was just. I want to kind of go into it like I went into The Force Awakens.
Oh, you had that buddy that asked you the question.
Yeah, I kept getting questions. A troop over the weekend, somebody was asking if it wasn't so much what we think is going to happen in the movie. He was asking if we thought they were going to title drop the movie before Celebration, and how they were going to do it, like if they were going to do what Avengers Endgame did, where they just released the trailer and there was the title at the end of the trailer, or if they're going to be like, hey, tiny little tidbit, this is what it's called, nothing else. Like, just kind of like how we got The Last Jedi. They gave us just the title of the movie before there was any trailer, or...
this is just me personally, I prefer everything all at once. Just, I'm guessing it's going to be at Celebration when they finally decide to drop this, but I mean, there were rumors galore that, you know, there was going to be Super Bowl commercial, and then a few weeks later there was going to be this random Tuesday or something like that there was going to be a title drop, and that passed by and nothing happened. I think it was like an Anthony Daniels tweet or something like that. Everyone was reading into, going, "Oh, there's going to be a title drop today," and nothing.
Yeah, I kind of hope it's like as much as it'd be nice to be at a Celebration when it happens, I almost hope it's just random. Like, because I don't get reception at work, so I want to just like walk out to my car and my phone blow up because they did the title. Just, you know, and I'd like a title and a trailer, because they have to get a trailer out soon.
Well, they did, what, a week or two ago just wrapped up photography, something like that?
Yeah, because there was the post about all them hugging and stuff and saying they were done.
Yep.
But also, I think last week they announced that Rian Johnson's trilogy is officially greenlit.
Right, but we don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's going to be a Jedi lore.
I have to assume it's going to be something totally...
But I'm thinking, like, I just picture that when he was doing the last one, there was something in it that he really liked, or he wanted to expand upon, and he seemed like he was more into that surreal part of it, like the Jedi, like that whole...
Yeah, so that's, I guess, now greenlit. They also have the, I can't think of their names.
The Game of Thrones guys.
Yeah. That trilogy coming out eventually.
And I still wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 more out of the Han Solo people. Not necessarily 3 Han Solo movies, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Lando movie.
Well, it's written into their contracts that basically any extension they can be called upon for. There was another rumor recently of the, like how they're doing the Cassian TV series in the Mando. Right. There's another drop saying instead of getting an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, that there's talks of a short series Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. See,
that would be cool. I would like that. The Obi-Wan would be tough, because that's a
There's
really
so much Obi-Wan already too.
Right.
Which I had the same reservations with Solo, because there's already so much content about.
Right, but I'm saying like the Obi-Wan, if you do too much with him when he's on Tatooine, you take away from his sacrifice to watch Luke. Like, if he's basically still doing Obi-Wan stuff, then he didn't really sacrifice his life to make sure Luke was okay.
Did you ever read the Kenobi book?
I did not.
It's really good, and part of it takes place without doing any spoilers for those who want to read it. A lot of it takes place kind of shortly after he more or less drops off Luke, and much of it is his transition into that hermit life.
Oh, okay.
Where he has those... Basically, it's that self-battle between what Obi-Wan Kenobi wants to do versus what Ben Kenobi needs to do.
Well, they've been touching on that in the Marvel Star Wars comics. They've been, every so often, they'll do a chapter that's a segment of basically that. So, I don't know if the Obi-Wan Kenobi book was in the Legends, if that's considered...
It's in Legends.
I think it was one of the last ones that didn't make the cut, wasn't it? It was
something like that.
It was like right...
But they have been doing that, so I don't know if they've been... Because I didn't read the book, I don't know if they've been recycling some of the same content, just reimagined as comic form, or...
Similar. It's not line for line, but it's generally along the same vein.
Yeah, so that is being covered in canon already. I just don't know if they're going to keep adding to that with a series, or...
Yeah. The only reason I could see them doing it is it seems like of all their spin-off films... The one consistent one from the fan base, like the one fan service they'd consider, would be that.
Everybody seems to be asking for that one too.
Yeah.
I think people just want one more Ewan McGregor.
Well, and I think even back in the day when everyone hated the prequels, they never hated him as Obi-Wan.
No.
Like even the people that hate the prequels to this day, that's always the redeeming.
I think you're
Ewan
right.
McGregor and Ian McDiarmid as the Emperor was the the two solid characters.
I like the prequels, so I mean.
Sean.
I know. I like them. I remember we saw them day one. But did you ever hear?
That's what I started off with. I can't be mad at the prequels.
Did you ever hear Missy's story about when we went to see it? She was going to put her hair up like Princess Leia. She tells this is one of my most embarrassing Star Wars stories. And you know what I said?
Oh, so yes, let's
you know what I said?
Let's record this for posterity.
She said she wanted to put her hair up like Princess Leia. I said I want to be like one of those weirdos that dress up and stuff.
A few years later.
Yeah, so that was my.
How much armor are you casting and making molds up for people?
I know my whole desk is covered with 3D printed stuff. So yeah, that was my embarrassing Star Wars moment. But I mean I like those. I mean, and even Phantom Menace when it came out on 3D. Did you guys see it when it was back in the theater? It came out on 3D, and that was Zoe's. I think that was her second Star Wars movie because we saw the Clone Wars animated like 4 times in the theater with them. So
I saw that one in theater. I actually didn't go to the re-release of Phantom Menace. I didn't see that one in theater.
The 3D was real. I thought the 3D was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I like the pod race in 3D was really cool. I like the ship battles. Like I still like when Anakin went in the ship. Like that's like just that to me was like the classic Star Wars story where the little kid saves the day almost by accident. Like you could just you knew it was going to happen as soon as he went in that ship. You knew he.
Yeah, and each of them had their moments too. Like just the opening sequence of the two Actus class. I'm trying to think where Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin are flying.
Yeah.
Just that whole sequence of getting in between the battle, that was really cool. When the clones drop in for the first time.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, with those drop ships and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was. I mean,
I'll tell you, we actually, because I'm catching Olivia up on the movies, we just watched Phantom Menace, and oh boy, she despised Jar Jar.
Really?
Yeah, she couldn't deal with. I've been slowly working her way into like animation in general, but the way she hated the way he moved, she had to look away from the screen every so often. Just watching him walk disturbed her on such a profound level that she was like, "I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee or something. Like, tell me when he's done talking."
No, did she see?
She loved it. She thought it was a great movie.
Did she see him in the Clone Wars yet though? Because I think a lot of the Clone Wars fixes him too.
No, I haven't.
His appearances in the Clone Wars.
No, I haven't gotten her into the Clone Wars yet.
It softens some of the people.
He's used a bit more sparingly in the Clone Wars.
Right.
I think we just, as far as not 5-year-olds seeing this for the first time, it was just so much of him in that film. That apparently, from things that I've read, it just the kids loved him.
Yep.
But
I thought he was hilarious when I was younger, first seeing it.
It's the older versions of us that go, that's a little cheesy, no thanks.
But it is weird though if you look at the effects from then. If you think when those effects were like, it's almost like his hatred almost shows how good the effects are. Because you never once think, oh, that's a guy in a weird hat. Mm-hmm. Like the effects did come out pretty good.
Yeah.
And I like. I mean, the Revenge of the Sith was pretty good. Like because when you think about those, the last 2 of the prequels were basically written because of that statement Obi-Wan said in his house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he summed them up. Your father was a good pilot.
Yeah.
I fought with him in the clone. Like that was those 2 episodes were just like that. From that little speech he gave Luke.
Forgot to mention, I basically cut him in half.
But, what are you gonna do? Obi-Wan wasn't the most honest person.
A certain point of view.
I was gonna say, well, that was his thing. He's being honest from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
I finished reading the Aftermath trilogy, where they actually, one of the little chapters was like Jar Jar's disgrace. I felt kind of bad for him in that.
Oh, I know.
Those are good books.
He was
like, he's walking around as this clown at Naboo, and they're like, why does everybody seem to hate this guy? There's all these little orphan kids. They're like, we like the clown. He's funny, and everybody hates him for some reason.
He's like
disowned. He's like, I messed up, but it's okay. You know what? It's all good. I felt kind of bad. It was kind of sad. I never thought I would humanize him or sympathize with Jar Jar.
Was it Chuck Wendig who wrote those books?
That was one of his last before he got fired from. Was he? Yeah, he's the one who got fired from
not sure.
One of them got fired. I think it was Chuck that got fired from Lucasfilm, or got not fired, just taken off their projects.
Those are good books.
Either way, yeah, I like them.
Yeah, no, I like all the new canon. I'm like way behind. Like I just finished Dark Disciple, which I really liked. I thought Dark Disciple was, and I read the Ahsoka book, which I thought was really.
Have you
good.
done any of the Thrawn books yet?
I haven't. I have it. I actually have the book. I just haven't. I got to read that.
They're really good.
The new one's coming out. The third is coming out soon. I don't know when though.
They just released the fact that it's even coming out, so I wouldn't imagine it's before.
Well, they did a cover. Like they actually there's a released image of the cover for it and sort of a synopsis of what it's going to cover, what it's going to be about, and I think it's going to be pretty good because it's talking about like Thrawn's been building up this like there's something going on the edge of the galaxy. Mm-hmm. But we got to send some
ascendancy.
Yeah, right. And so they're going to actually talk about what's going on over there.
See, I haven't read I didn't read hardly any of the Legends. I probably read like 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't miss out. Mainly because I just never read them because they never really, none of them promised to be canon back then. So I was just like, I like reading stuff now because then you know that little extra if you want to.
I think the one I'm most excited for is the new Qui-Gon Jinn Obi-Wan book coming out.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing one of those.
Yeah, right. It's I think it's Claudia Gray who's writing it, and she just does a really good job.
She's the one that did the Ahsoka book, right?
Mm-hmm. Or did she do Ahsoka?
I think it was her. I think she did the Ahsoka book.
She's done Lost Stars. Gonna look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
But I know what else. The one I guess I'm going to do. I actually took a break from Star Wars books. I just read The Hobbit because I had never read The Hobbit.
You never read The Hobbit?
I never read The Hobbit, but now I'm back into my collection of Star Wars books.
No, it was E.K. Johnson that did.
Okay. So.
I'm going to do Battlefront Twilight Company next, and I'm being bad.
Zoe really liked that. Zoe thought that was good.
Okay, I had my reservations about that. I actually skipped over that one. I'm almost up to the timeline. I'm right before Force Awakens.
Oh, okay.
But I skipped that one, so I'm going to go back and do that one before I come back to the Force Awakens era and do Bloodlines next. That
Zoe did the Bloodlines too.
Yeah,
well, you should do a book chat. That's what we need. We'll do a book chat episode. Yeah, I just like the books. I just like that if you want to read it, you get extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it because then eventually there'll be CRLs for a lot of those books. Because a lot of the Legends books, when the CRLs come out, I don't want to offend anyone doing their costumes. Their costumes don't look Star Wars when you actually put the older books. They look more Buck Rogers-y, than they do Star Wars, if that makes any sense. Like I know some of the ones from, what's the one that where all the bounty hunters went after Boba Fett? Shadows of the Empire. With Dash Rendar.
Yeah.
And they look like they were trying too hard to be Star Wars.
Yeah, I love Dash Rendar as a character, but his costume looks ridiculous in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but speaking of CRLs, we haven't done a CRL yet.
I want to learn about I got to go back through the Legends material and look up the Imperial Knights. Olivia expressed interest in the design of their costumes.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I still like the costumes, Two Tubes from Rogue One.
Benthic and Two Tubes,
and,
Benthic is my bro. He's been in everything because he's been in Solo now. He will not die. He survived Scarif. He survived Jeddah. He survived Jeddah. He survived Solo, which I guess was reversed. Solo would have taken place before.
And who else
the destruction of Jeddah?
Oh man, who was I trying to think of?
He was in the comics. They helped take out some Star Destroyer in the comics too.
Yeah, who's the pirate from Clone Wars?
Hondo.
I would love to do a Hondo costume. I saw a really nice one at Celebration, and he had the little monkey lizard on his shoulder.
Monkey.
Lizard monkey.
Yeah, it's
Quacky and monkey lizard.
Yeah, that guy.
So we thought we would do today. We would do Aphra, Dr. Aphra, Red Vest A. Aphra, which is a new character, has 3 CRLs already. Which means she's popular. It means there's a lot of people doing it.
The comics with her are well written. It's very exciting. It's very Indiana Jones-esque in Star Wars. So it's just a really cool kind of crossover.
Because I think they initially put her in there because they didn't want, at least I read somewhere, they didn't want Vader to be talking all the time. Mm-hmm. So they initially just thought, okay, who can we put in there to kind of...
So they created somebody talkative and who was smart enough that could dominate the conversation, but like...
Not get choked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I think that was, I mean, it's a good character. But this CRL, let's see. So those that are listening and playing at home, you go to 501st Legion CRL, and they're in the
Denizens
of the galaxy. So it's a DZ designation, and they're part of, what's this? This is the flagship Eclipse detachment. So is that what do they do all?
So that's like Imperial officers with names. Like the named officers.
Is it like Juno Eclipse from the...
yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Force Awakens. No, Force Unleashed.
Yeah, video game.
Yeah, it says this started with builders of... It says the flagship started with the builders of Mara Jade. Okay?
Okay, alright.
So it's those named evil people. But Dr. Aphra, for those that haven't read the comic, she kind of looks like an Indiana Jones with a flight cap on.
She calls herself an archaeologist, but the same kind of archaeologist that Indiana Jones was, where it was going on adventures and stealing shiny things off of pedestals.
Okay. So
well played.
You think about the comics, it's pretty accurate about what she does.
So I'm just gonna. She has to have goggles, right?
Yep. Looks like regular brown steampunk goggles.
Yep.
Over top of a light brown leather aviator cap.
Or leather-like material.
Leather-like material for you vegans out there.
Yes. But it says it has to... Here's what's weird. The cap fits snug on the customer's head. So it has to be tight on their head, I guess.
It's basically almost form-fitting the whole way around.
Okay.
And then the hair pops out of the front and the back.
And then since we're doing Red Vest A...
you better believe there's a red vest.
The outer,
No.
It's supposed to be a dark red made of medium weight fabric with no visible closures, because they don't have zippers or buttons in Star Wars.
And you can't. It takes too long to doodle them in the comics. So why would you have any way to fasten your clothing?
Right. And then so she has that vest, and then its shirt. It just honestly to me looks like a polo shirt, but it says can be white or off white.
Yeah, that is a white polo with the collar starched up a little bit.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like... Is there buttons? Oh,
that's got the buttons. That's a regular polo.
It's like the Han Solo thing where he's just got that open top kind of idea.
But it does have buttons on it.
That's got the buttons. Looks like it's just, if you click on it again, it looked like there were multiple colors of it that you could do.
Yeah, you can have...
a light cream colored or some sort of darker brown gray.
Right, but it also says in the CRL, it can be white or off-white.
So it literally doesn't matter. Awesome.
Right. And then trousers, it says plain denim, tight fitting. They can be gray or steel blue.
Which is sort of gray.
Yeah, I don't know what steel blue is, so I'm just going to go with gray. And then the gloves, it's like finger gloves with it looks like it has a rectangular red patch on it. They look pretty easy.
That's the laziest sewn-on patch I've ever seen.
Right.
Is it just like driving gloves with a?
It looks like driving gloves. So check in your dad's BMW.
I got a pair of those waiting at home. All right.
It says black, wrist length, made of leather or leather-like material, fingerless, cut above the finger joint. I would assume they mean the middle finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
And then a holster. Yeah. The holster looks very similar to Han, except it doesn't have the buckles. So it's a hang-down holster like his, but the belt's more like. All connected, sewn together. No clasp.
Yeah. Does his have the strap that goes around the thigh?
Yes.
Yes, his does. Brown strap secures soldier belt and runs buckle center. So yeah, it looks pretty similar to a Han. It looks actually pretty easier to make than a Han belt.
And it holds a DL-44 as well.
Right. The boots black with low heel, an inch or less. And it looks the boots almost look like combat boots. And the boots are knee-high in height. They don't really look like knee-high.
Yeah, those don't look knee-high.
Let me see the picture.
Okay.
Yeah, hers are knee-high. But
so she must be really short.
The boots, the boots...
Big feet, short legs.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this for anyone looking at the CRLs. The words go in place of the pictures.
Yeah.
Like the pictures, a lot of times they put the pictures in just to kind of give you an idea. We found that out when we were working on the Biker Scout. They had the picture of the belt, which was totally wrong than what the CRL was saying. So always check the words. And this is right arm tattoo.
It almost looks like you could make a sleeve out of that. It's just like a stocking, paint over it.
It says via sleeve, makeup, or otherwise, mimicking circuitry design. So those that don't know who she is, if you did watch the first animated Clone series, the Micro series, Anakin had that same pattern on him.
Did he?
Yeah. The second Micro
I watched that, but I don't remember that.
But it's the second one. The second volume 2.
Yeah.
He has that same circuitry. I think it goes up his arm to his chest or something like that.
Huh. Well, what it is for her is she actually is able. It's like a, what do they call it? Biotech or something. It allows her to like access some door panels and stuff like that remotely.
Okay.
It like drops her virus program or whatever into whatever building or system she's at. It allows her easier access into stuff like that instead of having to sit and hack and
carry all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that says it can be a sleeve tattoo or whatever. And then it says hair, black and shaggy. It should say loose under the cap. So you have to have a tight cap with loose hair.
Yes.
Okay. No longer than collarbone in the front, shoulder length in the back. And then a DL44.
Shoulder length? The picture is definitely longer than shoulder length in this one. That's down to her shoulder blades. Unless that's what it said, shoulder blade length, not...
Yeah. What did it say?
Oh, it does say shoulder blade length.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry.
That's not right.
Yeah, well, see, the wig's not right. The picture of the wig. So,
that's another example of that.
Check the words, not the picture. And then a DL44 blaster. It looks like the one similar to what Luke had, but no scope.
And it does say that on there.
Yeah, scopeless DL44. So, that's a pretty easy one to do. Because there's tons of those for
Toss me one of your misprints of when you tried to do the Han blast.
I got a whole bunch. I got a whole thing they just need put together. I got a whole bunch of them. So yeah, that's a CRL for anyone that wants to do Dr. Aphra.
It seems fairly easy to do.
Yeah. I would think your biggest expense, which is a lot of times with this, would probably be your holster and your boots.
And finding the 000 and BT1 to go with you.
Yes, you got to find triple.
That would probably be the biggest expense, is finding yourself a black C-3PO.
But if you're in Pennsylvania, we'll have at least one of them soon. By March 30th.
Hopefully someday.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Yes, so...
God, I'd love to do a BT-1. I want to make it even more so that I could have a detachable, like, Nerf gun, machine gun to stick on his head.
There you go.
Or, like, little panels that have little, like, foam rockets that could shoot. Oh, my God, I'd love that so much.
It looks like you got to talk to Choo Choo. Got to join the droid builders.
I'm so mad, though, because I worked a gig where I was tearing down lights in a theater, and there was a cabinet full of just these... glass curved lenses that were perfect Cyclops eye size, and I didn't know about the character at the time, and I was asking my boss, like, hey, you need me to just throw these out? And I thought to myself, I bet I could use them for some unnamed future costume project.
That would almost look like the pit droids too.
Yeah, with like just the big round, it was perfect size for those.
Or the Imperial probe droid.
Oh yeah. Literally, it would have been perfect for... That's so anybody who is willing to pay, $800 for a light lens, they get great droid eyeballs.
Minor expense.
And that's, of course, you take away the whole housing just to get the little glass disc,
Right.
But then I could put, like, an LED behind it and actually have it project light. That would be so...
have it change color. Yeah, with an LED, you could just have a programmable...
Yeah, it would be so cool. Because I found all the... And I was even talking to Marty about, like, how to build an R2 frame.
Well, his is wood. Have you ever... He just stripped his down to the actual wooden frame and rebuilt it for Celebration. That's what... Actually, him and Choo Choo were working on it for Friday to put it back together. I was distressed when I saw it. I went in his house and it was literally just a wood... it looked like...
R2s in pieces.
It like my chopper frame down there. It looked like my chopper frame. just wood. And he went over and they put all new servos. They put a aluminum skin on it. That's a whole nother thing we should get some droid builders on here and talk. Because we're all 500 First members, but you kind of get sucked into that world of like, oh, what new things can I build? Because like I'm building this 000. That's
not considered droid builders, is it? That's still...
It's a costume, but it's...
I feel like it would almost fall into Denizens, if anything.
It's also... There is a CRL for it. But there is... there's a protocol droid builders, too. And they're kind of like a combo, huh?
He's such a funny character, 000.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh, he and BT's interactions with each other are just like, I laughed out loud every time when I was reading that.
It's a TX.
Olivia thought I was insane.
Special ops.
Oh, okay.
So special ops for 000.
You're gonna put little poison needles in the fingers.
Well, I'm going to make a second pair of hands.
Torture hands.
So that she can swap hands. Because like I said, I showed you the fingertips, so I'll make a second pair of gloves. So yeah, that's...
Stabbing people. Stab. Stab, stab.
Just walk up to celebration.
Kicked out of celebration real quick.
Yeah. No, so, but yeah, we have celebration to look forward to. Movies, we have CRLs, we have...
TV shows.
We
have unauthorized armor parties coming up.
Oh yeah. We got some troops coming up too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we need to do that. Coming
up soon is the Millersville Odyssey of the Mind.
Are you trooping that?
Competition. Probably.
I am too.
I don't know. I think I did the thing where I followed the event, but I never actually signed up for it officially.
Yeah, I was just bad. I was waiting until after the election and all that. And so I'm going to do the Odyssey of the Mind, and then I think...
You're going to try and do Harrisburg St. Patty's Day Parade. You're going to find a kilt.
I don't know.
There are going to be a lot of us. We like tripled in number this year.
What day is that? The St. Patty's Wednesday?
I think they do it on the 18th, March 18th.
It honestly depends on where 000 is, because like I have to get this thing done and painted within the next 2 weeks. So if that
we're gonna have some kilted tie pilots too. So that'll be. I'm looking forward to that one because that's the next troop that I confirmed for coming up for me. But like after the last one where I was having all those lower half of my body strap issues, you rip all that off and put a kilt on.
So what are you wearing in that? You're just wearing your upper armor?
Yeah, you take out the everything below the chest and back piece comes off.
And then you just wear your lower legs?
Yep, and the shins.
The shins?
Which we actually took, I have clear packaging tape that we took our like kilt flashes, the little flags that hang down. We actually taped those to our shin pieces too, so it looked like some of us had our undersuit pants on underneath.
Yeah.
This year I'm thinking not, just so that I'm not fighting with them. Last year they were like falling down while I was walking on the parade route, which you couldn't tell because I still had the kilt on, but like I was like picking at wedgies the whole time because of just the way the pants kept bunching up underneath there. So this year I'm going to go the route of no undersuit.
Yeah, because I could just...
3/23. That's the date.
Is that the 23rd?
Yeah.
Well, see, I could probably then that's I'll know better by then if I have, like I said, like all day Saturday is 000 day, because there's the amount of greeblies on a droid are ridiculous. Like, because I didn't think I seriously thought I got to build these pistons out of all these little rings, and then they have to.
You gonna do kilted 000? Ever do kilted 000?
The parade would have to walk at like a snail's pace. We did a float one year, and there has always been people that wanted to build some sort of float. That's one of those things you almost need a member that has a barn that doesn't matter if you just sit stuff in it for one time out of the year. Because the Delaware has the Emperor's chair, which is really nice, but that's about as big as a piece as we could build. Someone was trying to build a transport.
Yeah, I think it was the McCullows were working on that.
I don't know
right now, Andrew's the guy that has all the props.
Yeah, he is the biker, the bike and everything, which would be cool. That's the one. If someone said pick a big prop, my two choices would be I would like to have a Bantha or a.
Scout bike?
Scout bike. That'd be the two I would want.
Scout bike would probably be most doable as far as size and easiest to store. Maybe
I'd like a small Bantha, like one that
baby Bantha,
like that so like it sits up about 8 feet at the shoulder. and just build
yeah.
it.
Small.
Yeah, no, but I mean the one I could just roll into my garage and just because that would go good with Jawas, droids, anyone. Like Mandos. Like imagine Toga and his big wolf. Man, have you ever seen Toga's
I've seen
giant wolf?
I think I was at Steel City with Toga when he was there too.
And he has the giant Mando. Like have him with his big hunting rifle shooting a bantha. So we'll see a lot of Mandos. I think when that new series come out, like just when the Clone Wars came out, when it first came out, that's when I first joined. Like I was in like a year, like Clone entering the Legion like just skyrocketed, and so now I think when the Mando mercs are gonna like it's their time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
With the Mandos, though we might get some more clones out of the new series.
Maybe
we'll cast some more helmets.
Yeah.
Get a collection and just be framed up in the top of your garage.
I want 27. My goal is to have 27 clone helmets. That's my goal.
I'm fine with the one.
I just want every variation.
I finally have a little handheld Dremel now, so I can finally cut out the visor cutout on the helmet.
You can post some pictures up.
I actually do have some somewhere. I'll have to share them with you or post it on the Facebook page. I edited it, so I painted black like in Microsoft Paint or whatever. I actually painted that area black to give an idea of what it would look like.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm just so far away from buying an actual visor and finishing the job.
Yeah, I would use just a cheap welding goggle and buy that.
I've been trying to find them like on Amazon or something, but they're either not cheap or
they should
the
be like
wrong
$6.
colors. Yeah, you'd think so,
just
right?
Look up tinted lens or something.
You'd think so,
Face
right?
shield.
That's I'm trying.
I just picked one up at Ace Hardware, I think, for like $7.
Oh, then I guess I'll have to go to a brick and mortar store, like
like the olden days.
Yeah, like we're in the Stone Age.
But But yeah, I'm waiting to see what happens with the Clone Wars. So, we probably got it. We're running out of steam. What time is it?
Oh yeah,
how long are we at?
We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes or so.
All right, well that's a good
ish.
That's a good long podcast. But so we will promise not. So this is our New Year's resolution. We'll do more than we did last year. Right?
We're off to a poor start.
Well, we did 8.
We'll do 2 for the end of this month.
We'll do more than 8. Remember that this is episode 9.
This is episode 9. So we can get more than 8. We can, and I want to update our website so I can get the blog part put up so we can do some writing on that. Because we have all that space, we're not using it. So please write in your questions in Facebook and whatever, and we'll see. We'll do much better at questions and answers and stuff like that.
Within the year.
We'll try 6 months. How about that? We'll shoot for 6 months. 6 months.
We may start, pushing out some possible merch ideas.
Yeah. I think we need a patch or a coin.
Maybe. I'm not gung-ho about collecting. I don't think about that stuff. I'm not as gung-ho about the coin collecting as some other people are.
No.
I got a couple extra of the Karita ones that we did, the gold and silver ones, just in case I see somebody who has a really cool one and I want to trade. But
I have a few for that. And then we could do patch stickers. Stickers are even easier.
Coffee mugs.
Inflatable
balloons of our faces.
No one wants that.
No.
At least not a man.
Well, if you're going that vein, you can create a giant target that people can throw at.
Yeah, see?
But no, please write in. And thank you, Tyler, for coming on.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Sorry, we did it on a school night, but we just kind of do it what night we can do it. Let all your kids just run amok.
That's what you do, right?
No, I have PE tomorrow, so my kids don't have me tomorrow.
Ooh, that's why you did it tonight.
That's why you tricked you.
No, you picked the night.
I said Wednesday ? And
I said okay. Well, it would listen. I went to Manhattan for a Force Awakens party on a Tuesday night, and we got home at 5 a.m. and I still went in and taught.
I love not being a teacher. Oh man.
Yeah, that week I was out late that day for that because Zoe got an invite. It was in Manhattan at Freedom Tower, and she couldn't go because Marty. They said we could still use the tickets, so Marty and I went to the I forget what's a Wired magazine. It was a Wired magazine They had a Star Wars photo spread, and so it was up in like the 28th floor. I don't know. So we were there, and then I think that Wednesday, we had a preview showing of The Force Awakens. So we went and saw that, and then Thursday we went and saw it again. So I don't think I got home before 1:00 in the morning any of that week.
Oof. And I'm sure those kids' education suffered because of
No, they had. I had it scheduled.
The old cliche of I'm going to show a video today.
I was a math teacher. We didn't have videos, but I was teaching Pythagorean theorem, which is pretty. I'm pretty good at Pythagorean theorem, so I could do that pretty well. I even taught them the right way. No, my kids' education didn't suffer.
C squared plus Q squared.
The only way.
No, I did have when Safi was born, the principal took over, and he taught them the Pythagorean theorem wrong. That whole year, I couldn't get those kids to learn it the right way.
Oh, there's only one theorem. How do you teach the one theorem?
He thought the long side was he taught the hypotenuse was the long side.
Oh my gosh.
So that year it was like there's like 30 kids out there that
think the hypotenuse.
They still think it to this day.
Oh, they're building a roof and they're like, wait, this doesn't match. All right. So anyway, thanks for listening. Make sure you write it to us because we're just talking math, and as soon as you start talking math, you're like, "Oh, turn this thing
People
off."
signed off already.
And please listen on iTunes, SoundCloud. Please give us a positive or as positive as you can rating on those. So, thank you very much.